Hey, greetings everybody. It is GleeCon back at you again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Um, so in the back of my mind, I've been kind of trying to gun for having the World of Warcraft gameplay started by the time we hit the 1 year anniversary of the show, and for some reason in my mind I had that linked up to New Year's Day. I thought that I started this show on New Year's Day. Well, that is incorrect. I went back and looked at the dates. I actually started it on December 30th, so that 1 year anniversary was yesterday, came and gone. So it takes a little bit of wind out of the sails and a little bit of the sting out of not making that deadline, but it's not really a big deal because it's all in fun and we are very close, and it's been a great year of a hobby. I've seen the show grow. The numbers are not massive by any stretch, but it's been exponentially growing, and I appreciate all the fans out there that are watching, the hours that are spent on there. And I know my goals for the next year are we're going to be in World of Warcraft, and I'm hoping that will give a boost. I think a lot more people will enjoy, while all of this lore and this weird side stuff is enjoyable, I think there's a lot more people that enjoy watching or listening to people go through game content, both from a help perspective. There are some ways that I look for doing the when I've done all the different lore masters and the thoroughness that I do it that I just haven't found out there. So I hope that I'll be able to attack things from that angle. And from my side, and aside from just the content I cover, I know that the show leaves a lot to be desired in terms of editing and just some upgrades that I can do in terms of quality of the overall program. And right now, I just pretty much plug and play, but you get out what you put in. So I do know to take the next level, we're going to have to actually do some editing in the process. So that's something on my radar. And anybody that's known me or known this show over the past year has seen that one thing that I do is I'm a slow and steady wins the race kind of person. I stick to it. Obviously, 810 or 820, however many episodes in, over 800 episodes in. That's the kind of person I am. And same thing, plugging away at the achievements, the ones that take just a long time. I'm an achievement hunter, and whether that's real life or game life. And when I say that I'm going to put something on the back burner and think about doing it, especially when it has come to this show, it gets there. It gets around to getting there. So that is something that is going to be work on my part, but it's going to be something that happens in the future. At some point over the course of the next year, that's my goal, to start doing that. All right, so all the chatting, fireside chat aside, we read Cycle of Hatred again. We got some more history about how Aegwynn lost her power, and then we've been flipping to the World of Warcraft D&D role-playing game. And this one, since it's written by Brand Bronzebeard and it reflects all of the lands that we're about to cover in World of Warcraft, I'm not rushing through it. We're just taking our time and going through each chunk. So stay a while and listen as we continue Chapter 1, which is all about Northern Kalimdor, and we're going to read about Darkshore this time. Okay, so it has a capital city of Auberdine. I believe that's that city just a stone's throw away from Teldrassil, where you go as a night elf. It is mostly night elf with some furbolg and a little bit of dwarves. Actually, I think in the bottom of Darkshore is where you have that little those dwarf camps, and 2% other. I don't know what that other is, but I do believe that there are Naga and other random things here. Thunderous Wind Reaver is the druid that rules Auberdine. All right, and this is an alliance quest zone. Much like Azshara was Horde, this one, there's very little to do here if you are not alliance. I arrived in Darkshore by boat from Menethil Harbor, and it was good to be on land again. The boat ride was long, but I had decided to work my way from the top of Kalimdor down, and thus Auberdine was a better option than Theramore. Darkshore was the first I had seen of Kalimdor, and I was impressed. There is a boat that goes over from Stormwind to Teldrassil. There's another gate as well. I don't remember that it goes to Menethil, but maybe. It was just at the beginning of spring when I arrived, and the temperature was surprisingly cold in Darkshore, but beyond that, the environment was quite hospitable. The massive numbers of trees reminded me of Quel'Thalas before the Scourge razed the city. Fortunately, the elves here seem to be in minimal danger. There are small bands of murlocs and corrupted furbolgs in Darkshore that might cause a wandering adventure trouble, but they pose no threat to the town itself. I'm proud to report that I was not the first member of the Explorers League to reach Darkshore, and I was greeted immediately on my arrival by a stout dwarf named Holly, one of the excavation leaders. A good number of other dwarves are about the area inspecting the numerous ruins, and one in particular named Rem Travel may have found some objects linked to the Titans. You think Rem Travel is like a sleepwalker kind of person? Maybe a green dragon in disguise? People and culture. The Night Elves of Darkshore are friendly and organized and used to travelers. I was fortunate that there was room in the inn when I arrived, which is apparently something of a rarity. The town was extremely busy, which I understand was in part due to an upcoming festival, the Rain Dance. In common, the elves have a different name for it. The festival is one of the largest of the year, and it involves dancing in heavy rain, typical elf stuff. While the villagers are almost exclusively night elves, the few humans and dwarves living in the area have made a good impression on them, and they were quite willing to answer my questions about the area. One thing that's jarring me is, man, the use of the word area is uh, so just it's so frequent. The dwarves here are few, but they are experienced adventurers, and most of them are members of the Explorers Guild. Kalimdor is a land of many mysteries, and the dwarves here spend their time investigating these secrets, focusing specifically on Titan ruins and the creations of their enemies, the old gods. The only truly native creatures in the area are furbolgs, and sadly those here are corrupted. The Night Elves do their best to find a cure for the once noble creatures, but sadly the power of the Burning Legion allows no antidote. It's also repetitive, like there just wasn't any time spent editing it. I appreciate what's going on, but we have sadly they're corrupted, but sadly, it's just that kind of thing. It just takes a cursory edit to fix that up and really improve the flow of any written piece, and it comes off as sloppy when professional published works don't do that. Geography. As a coastal area, Darkshore is cooled by a sea breeze and is perpetually humid. Rain is frequent but mild. The majority of the forest is peaceful and tranquil, but a few spots have been corrupted by the presence of warlocks or tainted furbolgs. Darkshore is dotted with several bodies of water, including at least one fairly large waterfall on the eastern side. I thought I saw movement behind the falls as I passed, but I can't be sure. The eastern edge of Darkshore is marked by a large mountain range which separates Darkshore from Fellwood directly east and Moonglade northeast. Also, if you turn thinking about gating content, it separates essentially a intermediate early zone, almost a starting zone, from close to endgame material. Sites and settlements. Darkshore is one of the last refuges of the Night Elves, distant enough from Mount Hyjal to have been spared the worst damage from demonic attacks. Amratharan. Once an ancient Night Elf city, Amratharan was destroyed in the Sundering. Highborn ghosts haunt the ruins, but most of them are not dangerous for an experienced adventurer. Aberdeen. Perhaps the journey by sea influenced my judgment, but I found the city of Aberdeen a welcome change. The Night Elves' buildings, all crafted from wood, interested me because each building seemed to be crafted from a single tree or piece of lumber. None of the typical signs of craftsmanship, such as nails or screws, hold the pieces of wood together. When I inquired about the method of construction, I was told the majority of the buildings were created using druidic magic. Cheating, but impressive nonetheless. This town is successful, and a friendly druid named Thundrous Windreaver runs day-to-day activities. A skilled sentinel named Alyssa Starbreeze organizes the town's defenses, which are more than sufficient for the time being. The town is old, but recent construction is abundant, and the Night Elves constantly hustle to improve upon the smallish town. I found the city comfortable, and I recommend that anyone traveling to western Kalimdor begin their journey there. Bashalaran. Like Amatharon, the city was destroyed in the explosion of the First Well of Eternity. Grove of the Ancients. This peaceful grove is the home of Onu, an ancient of lore, or as we dwarves would put it, a tree that talks too much. A few Night Elves also frequent the grove, mostly druids who come to study Onu's teachings. Onu investigates the nearby ruins of Malthistra, and I decided to help him out by paying the ruins a visit later. The Master's Glaive. This unusual monument consists of a large statue or corpse surrounded by a small lake. Once a Night Elf holy place, the area is now under the control of the Twilight's Hammer. After dragging one of the robed crazies to a corner to talk, I determined that they believed the statue was some sort of divine corpse, the remains of an old god. The term Master's Glaive refers to part of the monument. Examined closely, the strange statue or mound in the center appears to be a snail shell-like skull with a massive weapon embedded in the crown. I would speculate that it's possible a titan killed one of the old gods here, or one of their minions. And this is old god, like, breeding ground come, I don't know if it's Cataclysm BFA, but things change in this little area. Mephistra. This is an ancient ruin, another highborn city. The place is infested with Naga, though I can't see why the Naga would favor this ruin over any of the other highborn ruins in the area. Apparently, Onu's suspicions were right. There's something strange going on here. Rem Travel's excavation. An archaeologist from the Explorers League named Rem Travel runs a dig here searching for Titan clues. Monsters infest the nearby area, making it a dangerous place to work, but Rem Travel is persistent. I think that's one where you do like a weird escort quest where you just circle the excavation, and by the time you get back to the beginning, he's forgotten that that's where he started. Tower of, like, he's got Alzheimer's or something. Tower of Althalax. This dangerous tower is the home to the leader of the Dark Strand cult, a blood elf warlock named Athricus Narasin. I was advised that the area was deadly, but I couldn't help myself from taking a peek. The tower is guarded by Naga, elves, humans, and even satyrs. Truly, this cult leader has an impressive following. It would be best to keep a close eye on Athricus to make sure he doesn't make any moves on Aberdeen. History. Darkshore was one of the most prosperous regions of the Kaldorei Empire, and great cities such as Amratharan and Bashalaran were the pinnacle of civilization at the time. Much of the coastline was destroyed in the Sundering, but it was many years before the Night Elves began to rebuild in the area. Although Aberdeen is successful, the Elves never rebuilt anything comparable to the cities of old. During the Third War, Aberdeen was almost completely abandoned for a time as all capable Night Elves moved toward Mount Hyjal to protect the World Tree. Recently, the Night Elves returned, and they found to their dismay that small parts of the land are tainted by the corruption from Felwood in the east. My son and his cousin, my nephew, are here, and I'm guessing something happened in a video game. Even so, the Alliance has made Aberdeen successful in recent years, and the Druids hope to turn the tide against the corruption here soon. Adventures. While the city of Aberdeen offers safe refuge, most of Darkshore is wild and uncontrolled. Cultists, tainted furbolgs, and Naga are just some of the many dangers that can be found in the area, and these creatures often guard ancient and powerful secrets. So here's a sample quest. Darkstrand Disciples. Darian Thunderhammer, a human paladin, stumbles into Aberdeen heavily wounded. Though not mortally injured, he is incapable of continuing in his mission, investigating the ever-growing Darkstrand cult at the Tower of Althalax. A capable fighter, he expected to fare well against a few cultists. What he wasn't expecting was the intervention of demons. Somehow the warlock leading the cult has become powerful enough to command over a dozen fellhounds, a major threat to the region. Darian needs the PCs to find the source of this tremendous increase in the cult's power, but a frontal attack would be suicide. He asks the PCs to infiltrate the cult by disguising themselves as members. If the PCs are successful, they find that Athricus, the leader of the cult, has found a powerful gem that allows him to summon and control demons far beyond his abilities. If the PCs destroy the gem, the demons turn on their former master. There is about halfway down Darkwood a little mini quest line where you are messing around with the cult, and you might go in disguise. I can't remember, but it does seem like the gem of this quest is in here, informing this Dungeons and Dragons quest. But this time, it's no longer the case of like these things are giving ideas or showing the genesis of ideas for the game. At this point, the game exists, and anything that we see in here is getting pulled from the game. All right, everyone. Like I said in the beginning, I appreciate you for watching and for listening to Lore of Warcraft. I hope that you enjoyed it. This one's in the pipe. 5x5.